What if the problem isn't you? It's just the way that you learn. Today I'm gonna show you how to learn anything, how to remember it longer, and how to actually enjoy what you're learning. However, we're gonna use real science and we're gonna disprove anything that's not science, and you're definitely gonna become a better test taker, learn how to study, and be really great. Because the problem isn't that it's necessarily hard, it just you haven't studied effectively. Remember to like and subscribe and comment if you like the video, and let's get right into it. Most of us were taught memorize everything, to cram, to highlight as much text as possible. And literally when you highlight, your textbook just starts looking like a rainbow, but it's not actually helping, or it's not as effective as you think. Science actually proves that these methods that I just said are one of the worst ways to study, and I will literally show you the best methods to study. And the problem isn't how hard you work. There's a saying where you have to work smarter, not harder. Why do you think there are people that literally studied for a few days but consistently using different methods, and they got way better results than someone who crammed? Because the people that are cramming, those are not effective. There are people literally that get great grades and you're like, wait, you barely study, because they're gonna use the method that I'm about to talk about. These methods will literally transform your life when it comes to study. Because I had that problem. I would study. I literally had this test where I would study for like 8 hours straight. I would watch a bunch of videos, and then I would maybe do some, I don't know, flashcards, but I would never test myself anyway, or I would never know if I truly. I actually had this test for Ergo, and what I did to study was I kept reading over everything and taking notes, reading, and then when I went, I recognized the question, but my teacher did this trick, right? So it looked the same exact. So I memorized it and I put the same exact answer, and I got it completely wrong. Because she was testing not if we memorize, but if we understand it conceptually. And there's also two right answers. There was like mechanism. It's basically you have to draw the product. It's complicated. You could look up Oracle. But if I understood the concept conceptually, I would have been able to get that answer correctly. But since I just tried to memorize as much, since I used these passive methods such as highlighting, such as trying to remember stuff but forgetting, I honestly wish I knew these stuff in college. Like, I literally graduated and I could have had a way higher GPA if I just worked through it. But literally, this is gonna really transform your life, because if I knew these methods, I would not only have, because I've been studying for hours for that one class, hours and hours and hours, and I only ended up with a B. That's how horrible my studying was. And obviously, it's my huge regret that my science GPA really went down because of this. But I hope you all enjoy this, and let's get straight into the methods, right? And to learn anything faster, you need to learn these 3 laws. Number 1, active recall beats passive review all the time. Instead of you rereading your notes over and over and over, why not test yourself? Because if you were to do that, what's gonna happen is when you go to the test, you're gonna be like, oh, this looks familiar, this is easy. But then you get all the questions wrong, you get most of the questions wrong because you're just familiar with it. However, if you test yourself, you're active recalling. When you take a test, you basically have to active recall. So why not active recall while you're studying? And then when you go to the test, you'll be ready because you already practiced active recalling it. Spaced repetition over cramming. If you cramming, you already know, or you might know that's bad. Yeah, there's some people that might pass an exam and everything. However, this is not effective. What you should do is spaced repetition. So basically you will learn something and then you will review it right before you forgot, or right before you forget. And there's applications such as Anki, which is very famous, and there's others popular, where you just space repetition is the best thing. Law number 3, make it emotional and fun. When you have to memorize these certain things, and it's boring. Your mind doesn't like that. So why not make a story or an acronym that you really find as funny or enjoy it? Do that so you can really memorize whatever you need to memorize, and this will help you tremendously. Now we're gonna go to the 5-step framework of how you can learn anything fast. So let's get right into it. So the first step is to skim the material. Right before you go to a lecture, whatever, skim it, get the big picture of whatever you need to learn. Step number 2, chunk the information. Your brain does not like seeing a bunch of information, those 10 essays all at the same time. Chunk it into little parts so your brain can understand and it won't feel as overwhelming. Step number 3, teach it someone. I argue that this is the most important step because if you can't teach something to a little kid or someone younger or make it as easy as possible, then you don't understand it. Anyone can learn something in their science terms or technical terms and explain it to that. But a lot of people can't explain it so a 5-year-old can understand what you're saying. Step number 4 is space it out. This is very important. When I was talking about spaced repetition, if you space out learning, okay, I learned this today and in 3 days, let me review that material, that's way more effective and you won't have to study as much, but you're basically studying smarter, not harder, because there's people that's studying every single day, but that's not effective. Step 5, use multi-sensory learning, which means don't just read, watch a video, act it out, use as many senses as you can, and this will become easy and you'll understand the material way better. Mistake number 1 is do not highlight too much. Highlighting a lot is a waste of time, but just do it sparingly. Mistake number 2 is studying way too long with no breaks. We all need breaks. I don't care who you are. You're not a robot. When you have breaks, that allows your brain to rest, for you to feel good, for you to be as effective as possible. Mistake number 3 is studying only when you're motivated. If you do that, you only study once or twice a week and it's not effective. Instead, make a habit, work on your discipline. When you're disciplined, you're gonna go study whenever you don't want to. You're gonna have a consistent schedule because consistency is way better than motivation. And mistake number 4 is scared to make mistakes. You're like, oh, I can't make this mistake. That's why you're learning. You're supposed to make mistakes. Remember, learning is supposed to be messy. If it's not messy, you're not doing right. The truth is, anyone can learn, remember, and be 10 times better at anything. If you stop fighting your brain, but start working with your brain. Preview, chunk, teach it, space it out, multi-sensory, and those are all the 5 steps. That's the cheat code.